Good morning. This is day 5. Today I woke up very early with a tremendous nausea. But I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna give it a shot anyways. Yeah, I want to continue the day 3 topic, which was depending on of the pool of experiences, the sum of experiences that we've had in this life, and the present state, both physical and emotional, I would say. And we look out into the world, and yeah, the pool of experience and the present state, they kind of determine, they really impact what we perceive and how we perceive. Because you might have seen or you might have experienced that depending on what your state of mind is, you might not even be noticing certain things. So, and when that really sinks in, when that really becomes clear, then actually that's quite a shock, because then what I'm perceiving, even the thing that is not filtered out, that still is just a fraction of what's actually happening. And then even whatever gets through to me, that I'm now evaluating this, comparing it with all the experiences that I've had. So my interpretation of the world is extremely subjective. And I think, yeah, this for me, this has been such a big learning experience with this disease, because it's just opened up my mind to such an extent, and every time there's a jump in that, there's a feeling of expansion, but there's also a becoming aware of the level of ignorance and the arrogance that came with it. And there's almost a bit of shame, but kind of a positive shame, I would say, because that shame kind of inspires you to open up. And because if I'm exposed to something and I don't have any experiences that are close to that, well, there's no point in judging it. I think that the only thing I really have left to do is to open up wide and to just feel what it does with me. So in that sense, I think dealing with somebody who is going through an experience, whether it's a disease or whether it's, you name it, an addiction or whatever it may be, I think the greatest gift we can give somebody else is to actually listen, to come from a place of curiosity, and yeah, to deeply listen. And sometimes I think it might be even better not to say anything really, to just let the said be there untouched, and to just deeply listen. Because oftentimes we can't really do anything anyways, and the whole advising and oftentimes I think it's just kind of to avoid an uncomfortable silence or an acknowledgement of, you know what, I really don't know what to even say about it, and much less what to do about it. Yeah. I listened to day 3 again to try to continue where I left, and I realized this is such a big topic that if I try to think it through, I get completely lost. So I just went like, you know what, I'm just starting, and I'm trusting that this is just going somewhere. It kind of reminds me of very, very difficult climbing jobs where, I don't know, several trees crash on another and then land up on a house or something. Yeah, and then the moment you start one piece, everything else starts moving, and then there's a point where I surrender and I just Okay, now it's just intuition. Let's go. so, so similarly, let's go. Oh, by the way, you see a little mic here. I got some messages from people saying that the background noise is too intense. So let's see. I found this little microphone. So let's see if this does the job. If not, we keep playing. All right. Yeah. So I left saying that it felt like being abandoned and forgotten by God and the world. Yeah, in 2018, basically, like after having done about 14 months of just facing it head on, not taking any substances whatsoever, and just bearing the 24 heart pounding, just taking it. I was able to sleep from 10 to 2 roughly at night, and then the rest of the time I'd be sleepless. But as I said, there comes a point where one is so worn out and one feels either I'm going to now collapse or I'm going to go crazy. And that's the point, I think, where no matter who you are, no matter where you started, where you came from, there is a point where you basically break. And there's a point where it feels like every cell in my body, my entire system, including who knows what is there, energy bodies or whatever you believe, but it felt like the whole system, top to bottom, inside out, just completely broken. Everything broken. And that is a very, very strange place to be in. And I think that's also the point where tremendous doubt comes in. Tremendous doubt regarding even the intelligence that operates this body. Because obviously, like, I'm not thinking of all the processes operating in my body at any point in time. But the moment they stop, well, not entirely stop, but become really compromised, I become acutely aware of what's not working. So for me, after having experienced so many injuries, for example, in climbing, and so much healing, and the more trust there was, in direct proportion, the faster the healing was. So coming from that place and now experiencing something where I felt I've given it my all and this is not working. And then go to a doctor and look into those eyes and see, you know what, this guy has absolutely no clue what I'm even talking about. And he can't help me. And then to repeat that over and over and over again, and then to do all the research on the internet and doctor after doctor after doctor. Well, when that point comes that one feels, you know what, I'm gonna collapse, it's game over now, then I think one becomes extremely vulnerable to just take anything and there's no more questions. And yeah, actually yesterday I thought at some point I want to make a video, because I'm sure there's other people in the world who end up in similar tight spots, and I think I would have wished for me to get the information, you know what, before taking any meds, try out cannabis and see if it can somehow pacify the body enough so that you can keep going. Because that step that followed then for me to be sent to a doctor by a friend, a well-meaning friend, and then I realized that doctor was no doctor, he was a psychiatrist, a neurologist. And me saying, like, but what am I supposed to be doing? Like, what am I doing here? Yeah, this is totally the wrong place. What I'm having is physical. My body has derailed. I'm not crazy. But once I was there, all right, I thought, okay, I'm already here. I've traveled now 45 minutes to get here, so let me hear what he has to say. Um, and that was the beginning of taking a whole cocktail of meds. And yeah, I realize as I'm speaking, this is turning into a longer story, because I'm mixing perspectives and story here. So I'm sorry. I thought I would make this short and sweet, but obviously it's not what the system is doing. So then I just stop here for today and continue tomorrow. It's what's coming out of this mouth. Yeah, I press pause now, and I give you a little view of where I'm at. Like, I've come to a different place today. Thought I'd just share.